will be a crime-free area. This is going to be a crime-free area, by the way. You'll be able to go out. People tell me they can't run anymore. They're just afraid. And they'll be running again.
Yes, President Trump fighting crime. The Democrat Party fighting Trump because they love crime. They're the party of crime. More Democrats, more crime. More Democrats, more murder. Well, a very happy Monday to you, and welcome back once again. We remain at 888-630-9625. I've got everything from Moscow and Kiev to Washington, D.C., the Euros and NATO. Everybody's in town. I think the restaurants are going to be crowded tonight. A lot going on in Washington. We've got Barack Obama. He's jumped into the gerrymandering fight. And when Barack Obama does it and the Democrats do it, the news media calls it redistricting. When Republicans do it, it's called gerrymandering. One has a more positive connotation, one word, redistricting, a much more positive connotation than the word gerrymandering. And so when Republicans are looking at redistricting, the media, in a hostile, violent sort of fashion, calls it gerrymandering. And when Barack Obama and the Democrats, who have been doing it for years and years and years, when they're doing it, it's called redistricting. And this great stuff. Here's a story from the left. David Brooks, he used to pretend to be a conservative at the New York Times. David Brooks, he knows a thing or two about that. Trump redistricting, quote, mustard gas on democracy. Mustard gas, it's World War I all over again. Mustard gas on democracy. But when Obama was doing it, even 2 years ago, it was crucial redistricting push. It was a crucial redistricting push. Dems tap Obama for crucial redistricting push. And I want to get to that today because it's a big deal. We do have Volodymyr Zelensky in Washington, D.C., meeting with President Trump this afternoon at the White House. A bunch of Euros came along because somebody else was paying for the airfare. No big deal. The Democrats now have a very gay man as a cheerleader on the sidelines at the Minnesota Vikings NFL football game. And they're just not normal. They're really the Democrat Party, Democrat Party is very, very abnormal. And Gen Z, their new obsession is they want to be gray sexual. What is that about? This is all on the Democrats as well, and it really, really is. Just amazing stuff. Wah, wah, wah. Now, I've got other things I want to get because we're fighting crime in our nation's capital. I live in our nation's capital. I'm in our nation's capital right now. I broadcast this humble radio broadcast from our nation's capital. And we have a problem with crime, although the Democrats don't think so. It might be 10 times or 20 times more dangerous than Afghanistan was when the war was going on in Afghanistan. But pay no attention to that because the Democrats are okay with that. And what do we have here? 14 people shot in New York City over the weekend at a club. 3 dead, 11 wounded. And the Democrats say, well, what? That's just normal. That's just, you should shut up and get used to it. Don't go to that club. Remarkable stuff. What really has the Democrats angry is President Trump is trying to make it easier for people like me to get a concealed carry permit in our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. Democrats are against that, and then they go out and shoot people on the sidewalk. Just like they shoot CEOs on the sidewalks of New York because they're the Democrats. So we got a bunch of that going. But I want to share with you a couple of interesting moments from the streets and the sidewalks of Washington, D.C. We didn't have a Luigi Mangione moment where the Democrats had a new hero born. Their heroes are George Floyd and Luigi Mangione. Their heroes are killers and career criminals and drug addicts and mental cases, mentally ill people. Now, as you know, in Washington, D.C., we have a lot of homeless people. We call them homeless people. Overwhelmingly, statistics show, the people that try to help the homeless, that the vast majority of people that are homeless on the street, that is without homes, have very severe mental health problems, mental illness issues, right? And or drug addiction issues, and or alcohol addiction. That is, they're alcoholics who have lost everything, their jobs, their families, their homes, and nobody will take them in anymore. And the Democrats say, oh, that's wonderful. Look, it's just, let's throw them out on the sidewalk, and when they die, we'll come get their bodies. But in the meantime, they can fend for themselves and try to scrounge up or beg or steal enough money to eat for another day, find a place to go to the bathroom in peace, find a place to sleep where maybe there'll be some good stuff to steal. And the Democrats say, well, your mental illness, we should treat it by grabbing them by the scruff of the neck and the back of their belt and throwing them out the door onto the sidewalk where they will suffer until they die. I used to have a friend when I was living in Santa Barbara, California, Dean Parent. And Dean was a funny guy. He was like 6'4" and a muscle man, and he'd go hiking in the mountains with backpacks full of bricks just for fun. And he had a very close-cropped white hair, flat top, and he got a dye job on the side of his white hair with a bullet hole with blood running down it, because he was kind of a punk rocker, he was kind of a punk rock guy, and he was funny. And then his hobbies became collecting tattoos and guns, and he was kind of a fun guy. And his saying for life was, you're born, you suffer, you die. And it was tongue-in-cheek, mostly. And then he died at a very early age, very young age. But that's another story for another day. And I liked him very much. He was a good guy. He was a lot of fun. And a wild man and a punk rocker, and he was a lot of fun and a good friend. And he used to say, you're born, you suffer, you die. And for the Democrats, that's their plan for homeless people, is that you're born, then you suffer, and then you die. And then somebody comes along and scrapes up your body off the sidewalk, right? Well, and that is, I don't know how many thousands of homeless people we have in the streets and the sidewalks, the parks, setting up tent cities. I told you last week, the U.S. Park Police went through Washington, D.C., and removed 70 different homeless encampments. That's not one person or two people, but a whole bunch of people at these encampments. And you see them by the Kennedy Center and by the State Department and by the Capitol and by Union Station and all over the city, and in parks, many of which are owned by the federal government. So the U.S. Park Police went in, cleaned out 70 homeless encampments, but there is still a bunch of them. And and it's not the homeless people. I mean, a lot of them are severely mentally ill. They're in and out of mental institutions, in and out of jail for crimes that they commit because they have no money, ain't got no job, ain't got no, nothing. Little Richard Pryor. And the Democrats scream and yell at you if you want to remove homeless people from the street. Now, I've got an incident that occurred over the weekend, and there was a good guy there named Nick Shirley, young guy who's got websites and stuff, social media, and on his YouTube page, I guess, here to entertain and bring truth to all, says Nick Shirley. And he was out on the streets of Washington, D.C. over the weekend, and he's making video, and he saw police show up to arrest somebody. There was an arrest being made, right? And I guess he's a TikTok personality, Nick Shirley as well. And he sees police action taking place, and Democrats are crazy people, so they're out there to yell at the police and support the illegal alien drug dealer gang members and to make sure there is more murder than there ever was in Afghanistan. Here's Nick Shirley on the side. This is Saturday night or Friday night, that he posted this. But this weekend in Washington, D.C., and Nick Shirley was out on the street, and he had his phone with him, so he's making video because all those phones, they have video cameras in them.
All right, they're arresting this guy right here. They say, that guy just said he was arrested for narcotics, so he's either a homeless man or a drug dealer here on the street. There you have in the bag whatever he was selling. They put it in the bag, so he was indeed selling drugs. Right now we have the FBI, the police, Secret Service. We got about 8 agents out here right now, and there is the bag right there with all the money and the drugs that he was selling on the streets.
Apparently, it's got some thing about bleeping out the word drugs because, they like to limit free speech. But there's Nick Shillett. He's out on the street. He said they're U.S. Secret Service. We have the U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division, USSSUD. They have police cars, Secret Service police cars that have the markings on the side and the cherries on top. And the U.S. Secret Service Uniform Division wear uniforms. That's why they're called the Uniform Division, not plainclothes business suits, which really upsets Democrats. Oh, no, he's got plain clothes on. They're against plainclothes police. But Secret Service, FBI, and tactical gear, Metropolitan Police Department, 8 agents, and the man's being arrested, right? And you can see in the video, there's a big, oversized, like a 1-gallon Ziploc bag, and it's full of cash and drugs and individual packets, and the guy's being arrested, right? So then while this is happening, a liberal woman, and she, too, has never been on the keto diet, a white liberal woman shows up. It looks like it's probably around 14th Street somewhere, and there are drug dealers out on the street, and it's all okay. And here comes a Democrat woman.
Coward! Coward!
She has a bullhorn.
Coward! Cowards!
Sure, naturally.
Stay away from homeless people!
He's a drug dealer.
Fascist clowns!
She's not homeless. She's cursing, and she has a bullhorn, and it's wonderful stuff. The Democrats are I think, generally speaking, very mentally ill, very mentally. She has a bullhorn, and she's screaming, "Cowards, cowards!" and leave alone the homeless people. Now, this allegedly homeless person was a drug dealer with a whole bunch of packets and lots of cash, wads and wads of cash, stacks and stacks of fold-in cash. Sammy Davis Jr. Ocean's 11 reference, and she continued.
This lady just arrived and she is screaming in the megaphone. I wonder if she knows that they just arrested a drug dealer off the streets of Washington, D.C. Wow, you got a loud voice.
This guy's great. She's cursing, of course.
Right in here. This lady is an angry woman.
She is an angry woman. She's a very angry woman. Yes, she is. And then she's chasing the police down the street, cursing at them.
Stay away from homeless people, you fascist clowns! Get out! Get the out, bitches! Get out! Get out! You motherfuckers! Get the out! Out!
She was not arrested. She's just wondering. She probably works at the Department of Justice, like the guy that threw the sandwich. Then Nick is there, and Nick's doing a great job. And he sees there are a couple of actual homeless people there on the sidewalk sleeping on unfolded cardboard boxes, packing boxes. One is a woman. She's a black woman. The other one's a white guy. He's an old white guy. And Nick says, goes over and talks to the nice homeless people.
Have they came by and tried to take you guys off the streets?
They've been respectful.
They've been respectful.
Yes, they have not been aggressive or anything.
Wow, that's good to hear, because they just took off a drug dealer from the streets.
That's all they want. All they want is the drug dealers off the street and the people who die. That's all they want. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to with the homeless. They want the drug dealers and the guns off the street.
And with the drug dealers and then the lady laying there, black lady laying on her cardboard box on the sidewalk.
So what have the law enforcement said to you guys coming through here? Because that lady just came here, she was yelling all at the police, but meanwhile we just saw them arrest a drug dealer, and she's yelling saying they're taking away the homeless people.
To us. They didn't say anything. They walked by respectfully. They didn't give anybody any issues. I don't have a problem with law enforcement.
And should people be angry that they just took a drug dealer off the street?
No, it shouldn't be. I'm happy that D.C. is being cleaned up. And I'm not going to blame it on racism or anything.
She sounds like a very nice woman who needs some help. She's a homeless person, and the Democrats have left her there for who knows how long.
Did that lady wake you up?
Of course, it's a disturbance because she was provoking on purpose. And, you know, you always got people out here, they say they're for a cause, but, I mean, it's almost 11 o'clock at night. It's very peaceful. I hope she doesn't come back on that blowhorn.
She seems more cogent than the average Democrat member of the House of Representatives. I want to go help that lady. I think that lady needs help. The Democrats, they scoffed. They threw her out there in the first place. I've got more. And wait till you hear about that. I got one the media's reporting, a lot of bourgeois, the details they're leaving out on another guy arrested over the weekend in D.C. That's coming up. Hey, I want to talk to you about living a better digital life, in Al Gore's amazing internet world and all that, with one of our new partners, WebRoot. WebRoot is just great. I chose WebRoot because of the Total Protection product. WebRoot's all-in-one package offers plan options that are available for individuals, allowing coverage up to 5 devices for an individual, up to 10 devices with a family package for the whole family. Got you covered no matter what. WebRoot's coverage includes antivirus, identity theft protection, VPN backup, and a whole lot more. And look, kids use the internet and phones and iPads, and your grandmother uses the internet. WebRoot wants to make sure your entire family is protected, whether your toddler is using the iPad or your grandmother is using the laptop. WebRoot allows for my best girl and I to live a better digital life, and that's why I want to recommend that you do the same. Right now, you can get 50% off of WebRoot's Total Protection or WebRoot's Essentials when you go to webroots.com/plant. Again, 50% off because you and I hang out together. WebRoot's Total Protection or WebRoot's Essentials when you go to webroot.com/plant. Yes, sir. I love this one. The Democrats. I'll give you a clue. The Washington Post headline: Federal officers detain, tackle moped driver amid Trump D.C. police crackdown. I've got the rest of the story on that.
This lady is an angry woman.
Yeah, I love our I'm being facetious, our news media. The Washington Post with a headline today: Federal officers detain, tackle moped driver amid Trump D.C. police crackdown. 6 agents wearing police vests without clear identification of their agencies. What, it just body armor and it says police on it in big letters and there's a badge over here, but clear. Detained a man they later identified as a Venezuelan national in Northwest Washington. He's riding a moped, and they say, oh, he's a food delivery guy. Federal agents detained a food delivery driver as he emerged from a Northwest Washington coffee shop Saturday morning. And the news media was there. An incident captured on video by numerous witnesses. And still the Washington Post, including a Washington Post reporter. Wait till you hear the punchline.
That's from ruination and from the clutches of the noonday devil, this human being made in your image and likeness. Strike terror, Lord, into the beast, now laying waste your image.
I was actually not sure. I know we had talked about pulling audio from the movie The Exorcist since we were listening to that Democrat out on the sidewalks of Washington over the weekend. But that was Reagan from the Exorcist, right? My friend William Peter Blatty's movie and book. But it sounds this lady on the street, she might be possessed by the demon. She might be have to go down and throw some holy water on her.
Get the out! Out! Out!
Which one?
So he may no longer hold captive this person, whom it pleased you to make in your image.
Honestly, the Democrat Party versus Satan. What is the difference? That is pretty amazing stuff. I was in the middle of telling you about a story in the Washington Post. Absurdly, federal officers detain, tackle moped driver amid Trump D.C. police crackdown. 6 agents wearing police vests without clear identification. So the police vests are not clear identification for Democrats because they're too stupid for that. You can't trust them to know anything about the world they live in, right? 6 agents wearing police vests without clear identification of their agencies. It just said police on them and badges and things. detained a man they identified as a Venezuelan national. They leave out that he's an illegal alien in Northwest Washington. Federal agents detained a food delivery driver as he emerged from a Northwest Washington coffee shop Saturday morning. An incident captured on video by numerous witnesses, including a Washington Post reporter, that showed the officers tackle him to the ground. Was he fleeing the scene, as they always do? Have you ever, every time there's another one of this influencer who was arrested by federal officers over the weekend, and she naturally, in like a $90,000 car, starts immediately beating and assaulting the federal police officers, and they're big, strong men, with body armor on and things, and the lady is flailing about and kicking and screaming and clawing and scratching. And every time you see a video of a Democrat being arrested, they're violently assaulting the police. It can be a senator from California, and he's a Democrat, and he'll assault federal police. It can be a Democrat member of the House of Representatives at an ICE detention facility, and they're assaulting police. And then they get the video, because there's video of everything, and they blame the cops for everything. They blame the police for everything because they're violently attacking the police. And then when the video showed, look at the cops being mean to me. And it's, the hockey fight thing where you don't see the Democrat throwing the first punch, although you very often do these days. And I got to tell you, but here's the Washington Post. He's a food delivery driver as he emerged from a Northwest Washington coffee shop on Saturday morning. Incident captured on video, and they even had a Washington Post reporter tackling him to the ground, holding him down, and appearing to use a stun gun before driving him away in an unmarked black vehicle. It's the most obvious police vehicle you've ever seen in your life. And Donald Trump is turning it into a third world country, while they're actually turning us into a third world country by importing the third world by the millions, the tens of millions, the foreign gangs all over the country, the rapists, the murderers, and I'm sure some of them are good people. So after a video of the incident spread widely online, the Department of Homeland Security, the spokeswoman there, identified the man as Christian Enrique Carias Torres, a Venezuelan national who she said illegally entered the United States in 2023 and was ordered removed by an immigration judge later that year. Maybe she's lying. What she said. So why don't you say she explained? Why don't you say that, she didn't say anything, that he's an illegal alien in the country, and he was ordered removed by a federal immigration judge in 2023. It's now more than halfway through 2025, and the Democrats will shoot you down. The spokeswoman, Tricia McLaughlin, who's just wonderful, said he had, quote, repeatedly failed to appear for multiple court dates in Maryland related to a long list of traffic crimes. Have any drunk drivings in there? Because you get a lot of those. For which he had active warrants. So wait a minute. He's an illegal alien with multiple warrants, active warrants, who had failed to appear in court again and again. And then he resisted arrest. Okay, that means assaulted, and it's right there in the video. Assaulted the police, but the Washington Post doesn't put the video in here because they're part of a criminal enterprise. No information was available Sunday to determine whether he had applied for any form of protection from deportation. He's an illegal alien who came in, who appeared in court repeatedly, who has multiple warrants out for his arrest. And reading the Washington Post piece, you'd think that some poor innocent moped driver was roughed up by 6 federal agents who weren't identified. Everything is a lie. Every line in this story is a lie. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt addressed the incident on X on Sunday evening because the Post and other fakes were making hay out of it, echoing the Department of Homeland Security statement that Carias Torres had an active removal order and described him as having suspected gang affiliation. So we got an illegal alien gang member with multiple warrants out for his arrest, and he's in Washington, D.C., and he's arrested by federal authorities, right? You don't have the video of this, do you? Okay. You're looking funny. You got a look on your face like, hey, I got it right here. So suspected gang affiliation. Department of Homeland Security did not answer questions from the Washington Post on Saturday about whether authorities had reason to believe Correa-Torres had a violent criminal history, and did not respond to follow-up questions requesting information about the Maryland traffic crimes. They really, the full-throated defense of the Washington Post comes into play here, comes to bear, because the Democrats will defend any criminal, any crime, any gang member, any illegal alien, and they want more of them. I know they want more of them because they fight ferociously for more of this, and they're furious if you want less of this. It'd be a shame if all of them were killed by illegal alien gang members. The arrest sparked fear and outrage. This is the Democrat Party story. Now, again, an illegal alien gang member with multiple arrests and multiple warrants out for his arrest. And the Washington Post take is the arrest sparked fear and outrage among some residents during the first weekend of President Donald Trump's ramp-up of federal agents on D.C. streets, efforts that the White House said were about violent crime, but which have increasingly focused on immigration enforcement. Oh, no, we're enforcing immigration laws. See, here's the thing, you stoops at the Washington Post. Illegal immigration is illegal. Being a gang member should be frowned upon. Having multiple warrants out for your arrest is also not, the guy you want to marry your daughter, probably, or maybe it is if you're a Democrat. And then they can get matching tattoos and stuff. It'll be great. Gang tattoos, MS-13 tattoos. So fear and outrage, the Washington Post says. Among what? Illegal alien gang members? Craigned on violent crime. The White House reported 72 immigration arrests from Wednesday through Friday. That's more than half of all arrests made as part of the federal crackdown over those 3 days, according to White House figures. Now, they don't mention all the guns and all the people that are on outstanding warrants that are supposed to be in jail. Now, do we have, we played Caroline Leavitt, who ticking off, I guess, on Friday, the number of arrests back then. Since Trump issued an executive order declaring an emergency and federalizing the local police force, incidents between residents and police have escalated. That's because the residents are a bunch of criminals who are attacking the police, and that mentally ill lady from The Exorcist, who the Democrats are probably going to run for the city council now that they've met her. The incidents, that means attacks on police by residents, have escalated, leading to allegations of harassment and aggression from some residents across the district. Yeah, right. In Northwest Washington on Saturday morning, the arrest of the food delivery driver, who is an illegal alien gang member, never mind any of that, rattled those who witnessed it. Yeah. D.C. native Mario Zampaglione was dining on the patio at Bluestone Lane. That's the name of a restaurant. A high-end coffee shop, when he saw two masked agents in tactical police vests standing outside the entrance. He had no idea they were police, I think. Moments later, a food delivery driver, later identified by federal authorities as Correa-Torres, an illegal alien, reputed gang member with multiple warrants out for his arrest, left out in the Washington Post here, emerged from the store with a pickup order in hand. Zampaglione said, as the delivery driver, illegal alien gang member called a delivery driver, approached his moped parked on R Street Northwest near 14th Street. That is where Big Balls was attacked by the mob of 12 Democrat youths and was beaten bloody while they were trying to carjack a woman, because the Democrats want more of this. They're the party of carjacking, the party of mugging, the party of mob violence, the party of murder. Prompting witnesses to pull out their phones and record what would become widely circulated video of the man's arrest. Yeah, everybody pulls out their phone for everything and makes video of everything. But videos from both sides of our street captured Zampaglione, and the Post reporter who came upon the scene shows 6 masked law enforcement officers It's because they're arresting a gang member from a Latin American country where they hunt the police and kill their families at home. And in the United States, our federal law enforcement officers don't want to have to deal with that stuff, but the Democrats definitely want them to have to deal with that stuff. That's why they're yelling about the mask. Aren't they? These are the people who still wear surgical masks driving around in their Audis in Washington, D.C., wearing by themselves in their cars. I got to tell you, you people, they really just snuck up on them. Zampaglione, 30, said, I was born and raised in D.C. I've never seen anything to this effect. Yeah, you haven't been murdered yet either, but isn't that good? Just great. Shows 6 masked law enforcement officers, including at least one wearing an Immigration and Customs Enforcement badge, detaining the driver, at least one. That means all of them. And the body armor and the vehicles and the, we couldn't tell. This is the Democrats defending crime. They're supporting crime. Man, oh man. During the arrest, witnesses, including the Post reporter, asked the officers to identify themselves numerous times, but no one who was wearing the ICE badge, but one who was wearing the ICE badge refused. That's because he knows you guys are trying to dox him, to threaten him and threaten his family like the communist third world tree-dwelling chimps that you are, honestly. Oh, are you guys the cops? One agent who was wearing a hat and a mask responded. Then shut the beep up. Okay. So it's the cops are the bad guys here, not the illegal alien gang members with multiple warrants for their arrests. And they're the bad guys. This is, and again, it takes you paragraphs and paragraphs before you get to illegal alien, and then more paragraphs till you get to gang member and the multiple warrants out for the arrest. No, those mean, terrible cops, Trump, bad, and then they're screaming fascists at the police because that's what they do, the Democrats. All right, I have too many stories in front of me, but let's go to let's see. Can I? That's crazy, man. Crazy, man, crazy. Yeah, I got to get to the because they call everybody fascist. The people fighting fascism in Texas are armed, uniformed, and they don't identify themselves, do they? They're in camouflage with rifles and masks, and they're transgender Antifa people who are shooting the cops, and they're the hero of the story, too. The news media is the filthiest, most corrupt institution in America. Yeah, I've got that story coming up. That's a good one. You know, the big wireless companies are pulling one over on all of us. It's time to make the switch to consumer cellular. Listen, I made the switch. I'm getting the same fast, reliable, nationwide big wireless coverage without the big wireless cost, the money every month. But it's not just about saving money every month, although that's good. It's about not being used and abused by the big cell phone corporations. Do you even know how much data you use every month? Probably not. Most of us don't. Most people over 50 use less than 8 gigs of data. Very little data every month, but Big Wireless wants to shove you into an unlimited plan because they're using you to cover the cost of 19-year-olds who are using 20 times the data that you're using, and they're redistributing your wealth to pay for it. So if you're not using all that data, you're the one being used. And had enough of that? Go with Consumer Cellular. They set me up with a service and a phone, great, amazing phone, great camera, easy to make the switch. You make a phone call, you talk to an actual human being on the phone, not a robot. Person is right here in the United States, not on a space platform, real human beings who are actually helpful. Takes about 20 minutes to make the change, save money every month, forever. So give them a call today and make the switch. Call 1-800-760-0702. That's 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, and Obama on gerrymandering. But to hear the media tell it, when Obama does it, it's not gerrymandering at all.
Illegal immigration is illegal.
Well, we've just gathered more information. I want to I want to share the audio of the screaming crazy lady who we thought might be the obsessed teenage girl from The Exorcist. It turns out her name is Patricia Eguino. Patricia Eguino. And she says she's Latino. She was a candidate for the D.C. City Council in 2024. She's running to be on the Washington, D.C. City Council. This is her with her bullhorn.
Coward! 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 Coward!
Yelling at the police on the street with her bullhorn. That's Patricia Eguino, 2024 candidate for the D.C. City Council. Defended our democracy as a counter-protester on January 6th. Latina. She's Latino. That's gendered. You're Latinx. You're Latinx. Progressive policies, enemy, and death metal. Death metal is the only normal thing about her. Isn't she amazing? She's a Democrat, of course, and a progressive, so-called, and she was a candidate for the D.C. City Council. The Democrat Party is mentally impaired. The Democratic Party is not democratic, and they're very severely mental, honestly. When we round them up, we should send down little yellow buses. We should, these people are, and again, a Democrat candidate. This is our nation's capital of the United States of America, Washington, D.C. Aren't they some? I have Barack Obama coming up because Barack Obama, when he steals House seats in states across the country, it's redistricting. If Republicans look at redistricting, it's gerrymandering because the filthiest, most corrupt institution in America is the American news media. But I've got some background that you're going to want to know. You're going to want to have at your fingertips, this information. And Barack Obama is definitely involved, and the news media is definitely involved as well. Yes, sir. Redistricting, gerrymandering. Gerrymandering bad, redistricting good. Guess what the media does?